For over 1,000 years, claims of bread turning into flesh during Mass lived entirely within the realm of religious belief. Empirical science and laboratory testing were kept firmly outside the sanctuary doors. That boundary vanished when modern pathologists were finally granted access to examine these ancient artifacts. The primary baseline for this medical investigation starts with the oldest documented case on record, a 1,300-year-old relic from Lansagno, Italy. When researchers put this ancient material under the microscope, they found it was entirely composed of actual human cardiac tissue. This lab photograph confirms the specific blood type found within those ancient fibers. It is AB positive. This exact result became the permanent biological signature for all future comparisons. A single result like this from a singular artifact is a fascinating anomaly, but in science, a true phenomenon requires repetition. To prove this wasn't an isolated fluke, researchers needed to find that exact same biological signature in completely unrelated modern events. In the 1990s, 3 separate claims of transformed hosts emerged at St. Mary's in Buenos Aires. Lead investigator Dr. Castañón Gómez designed a strict double-blind study. He extracted physical samples and sent them to Dr. Frederick Zugibe, a leading forensic pathologist in New York, deliberately withholding any information about where the samples came from. Without knowing he was examining a religious artifact, Dr. Zugibe ultimately concluded that the mysterious tissue was myocardium, specifically, muscle from the left ventricle of a human heart. The pathologist noted the heart's owner had suffered greatly, with testing confirming the same markers found in the Lanciano relic, myocardium of the left ventricle and AB-positive blood. A double-blind match spanning over 1,000 years points to a consistent, repeatable biological event. The investigation moves to 2006 in Tixtla, Mexico. Here, investigators deployed histochemical analysis, a technique used to examine the chemical makeup of biological cells to study a new sample. Here, purple-stained white blood cells and active macrophages are clearly visible. Separated cells typically die within 48 hours, yet this tissue maintained active living cellular functions for a full 3 months after the initial event, a metabolic impossibility. Laboratory findings show a sustained metabolism functioning beyond the known limits of cellular survival. 2 years later, in Sokołka, Poland, independent pathologists conducted the most detailed microscopic analysis to date. This slide shows stained myocardium fibers. Notice the visible cracks and segmentations along the tissue. In pathology, this is known as fiber fragmentation, a specific condition that only occurs when a heart undergoes extreme physical trauma while it is still actively beating. They also found leukocytic infiltration, an accumulation of white blood cells responding to injury. Since white blood cells are only transported by an active circulatory system, their presence confirms this heart was alive, reacting to a severe physical blow. But the most baffling discovery was structural. The pathologists observed human heart fibers deeply intertwined with the material of the bread itself, fused in a way that cannot be replicated by human hands. Looking closely at this microscopic pattern, you can see the wavy pink biological structures completely integrated with the blue non-biological material. The Sokołka analysis provides a precise biological snapshot of an organ captured in the exact moment of intense, fatal agony. When we map the data points across Italy, Argentina, Mexico, and Poland, a highly specific profile emerges. Independent laboratories isolated the exact same 3 constants: left ventricle myocardium, AB-positive blood, and extreme physical trauma. Despite decades of separation, different research teams, and rapidly evolving technological tools, every single forensic investigation has pointed to the same biological entity. The data reveals a consistent profile: a living, metabolizing left ventricle belonging to a man with AB-positive blood. The pathology consistently shows severe trauma, the marks of a tortured heart, characteristic of someone who physically struggled for every single breath. Over 1,300 years, forensic technology has sharpened, identifying a pathology that defies standard biological explanation. Forensic science has successfully mapped the tissue and the blood, but it fails to explain how living metabolism sustains itself for months in a petri dish, or how human muscle fibers flawlessly weave themselves into unleavened bread. These independent case files present a unified biological reality. We have the living, suffering heart on the slide, forcing a collision between empirical science and the entirely inexplicable.